to start off with. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is we're going to look at what we call a scatter plot. So we're going to draw like a scatter plot on this. So what I want you to do is we're just going to plot the data, and I'll show you how to put this in your graphing calculator, then how to do what we get a line of best fit, okay, because that's what we're mainly talking about is some of the applications of linear functions. So it looks like the biggest x is 85, so let's just kind of estimate, just go by tens, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and up to 90 like that. Okay, and that's good enough. That'll be x. And then the y, it looks like the biggest y is 99, so let's do the same thing. Let's just go 10, 20, 30, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 like that. And then when you do a scatter plot, all you do is you plot your points. You don't connect them or anything, you just plot the points. So I'm going to do the point 12, 7, and you just estimate, so over 12, up about 7. Doesn't have to be perfect, just get a rough idea of where you are. Over 28, up 30 would be in there. And then over 28, up 34 would be a little bit above that, like that. And then over 50, let's see, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And then you want to go up about 49, like that. Okay, and then 62, 72, just go over and up, estimate where that is. That's kind of in there somewhere. 70, 55, over 70, up about 55, somewhere in there. Then 28, 20, back to 28 again, so that's going to be over 28, up 20, so you should have like 3 dots right on top of each other. Then 87, 99, so here's where 80's, here's 80, so 87 is somewhere in here, and then all the way up almost to 100. And then 85, let's see, 60, 70, 85 in there, and then up about 75 in there. So you should roughly have a set of dots kind of like that. So if you're asked to do a scatter plot, that's what you're doing, is just plotting your data, okay? Now, if you'll get your calculator out, some of you have done this before. It depends on what you've done in high school. I'm going to show you how to do what we call a line of best fit and how to put a scatter plot in your calculator. So the first thing you do, and I've written all the keystrokes on this, just follow these keystrokes. First thing you do is you press your stat button. Okay, then you want to highlight edit. So you want to press stat. It should blink on edit, just press enter. Now you may or may not have stuff in there. Now the first thing I want to make sure, does everybody have L1, L2, L3? Does anybody not have that? Because sometimes students, their calculators get messed up. Anytime that gets messed up, you can go, if you want to clear everything, you can go stat, and then you can go down to setup editor. That just returns it back to normal. Now, if you need to clear something, this is how you clear stuff. This is the way I do this. I just get the cursor blinking on L1, press clear, and press enter. That's if I need to take stuff out of there. Same thing on L2. I have some stuff in there from the Great Goody. Now, I wouldn't do this if you haven't turned your Great Goody in yet, by the way, if you've got that in there. But if you turn your Great Goody in, you probably ought to do this with me, okay? All right, so let's go through and I'm going to clear that. So I'll press clear and press enter. And then what we're going to do is this. We're just going to put in those x values. Just go straight down and take the x values. So we've got 12, 28, and so forth. Just put them in one at a time. Let's see, 50, 62, and then I got 70, another 28, 87, and then 85. I would just put all my x's in first, and then put all of your y values in L2. So just take all those, match those up. So I'm going to put the 7, and then the 30, and let's see, then what I got, 34, and then 49, 72, 55, and then what's 20 is the next one, and then 99, and then finally 75. So that's how you put data in. You've already learned how to do that from your great goodie. So if you wanted to make a scatter plot, then what you do is you do this. You follow this stuff here. You want to set your window after your data's in. You want to go to your window, and let's just go on the window 0 to 100 in both directions, because that's kind of what we basically did here. So I'll go 0 to 100 by a scale of 10. That'll get the x-axis put together. Then I want to do the y the same way. I'll go 0 to 100. Oop, keep putting one too many things in there. So we're 0 up. Okay, and then scale by 10, like that. So that would be the way your graph goes. Now, what the simplest way to do this, to get this scatter plot to come out, is go to your y equals button. Just press y equals. If you have something in there, it doesn't matter if it's in there or not, then just go up to where it says plot 1, get your cursor blinking on plot 1, then press enter. Now, if you did your great goodie, you should already have that on there, because that's how you got your points to go in. So if you've got everything put in, if you put your data in, then you would have the same scatter plot that we have there. Now, I'm getting one of my functions coming out, so it's probably a good idea to just wipe that thing out like that. So that's how you perform a scatter plot on your TI, okay? Now, what I'm going to show you how to do is the other main thing that I wanted to introduce you to today is we get what's called a line of best fit, okay? So what we're going to do to find a line of best fit, I'll have you maybe write down what keystrokes you do. What you do is you go stat. Now, this is worth writing down because we're going to get like what we call a regression line on this. And then you're going to go over to where it says calc, like that. And then you should scroll down on there. You should have, I think on my calculator, it's option 8, where it says linear regression. And that's going to give you a line of best fit. Then we're going to graph it, and I'll show you kind of what that does. And that's mainly what I wanted to show you today. So you press enter when you do that, okay? And then what usually these things, you want to make sure that your X is L1 and your Y is L2. That's the default. Then you go down to the bottom where it says calculate. This is the way it works on most calculators. Then you just press enter. Get it blinking on calculate, press enter, and then it will do the regression for you. So what it's doing is it's telling you what A is, and it's telling you what B is. So let's write down what that is. That's basically giving you Y equals A, which is, let's just use like 2 decimals, negative 1.86. And then B is like the slope. So it's going to be 1.0, and then let's just round that to 2 like that. So this thing right here is giving you what we call a line of best fit. So I'll show you how to put that in just a minute. So basically you go stat, calc, linear regression, and it'll give you the line that will best fit that data. That's called a regression line. So what you want to do now is you want to go y equals, and then just in y equals, put in what I highlighted in yellow. Just put in negative 1.86, like that, and then 1.02x. And if you graph that, see if that doesn't go through most of those dots, or at least close to it. That's called a regression line. The way that you learn how to do a regression line, you have to study statistics to do that, and then the formula for doing a regression line is kind of a big mess. So in this class, mainly in what would even do in stats, is you just let the calculator take over. So that line best fits the data. Does that make sense? So, I mean, you're trying to draw a line that minimizes errors between those lines. So what I want you all to be able to do in this section for a start is to be able to do scatter plots with and without your calculator, and then use your calculator to find that line of best fit. Is that working for everybody okay? Okay, everybody's calculator's working okay? Okay, because you need to make sure you know how to do this, and when you get into your exam too, you're going to be doing stuff like this. It's real simple to do, so make sure that you know how to do this kind of stuff on your calculator. Does anybody have a question about anything? Okay, yeah.
What's the LN regression?
That's logarithmic.
Okay.
LN is like there's all kinds of regressions on here.
Yeah, because when I entered that, I had a huge number.
Yeah, it's got to be the one that you want to do on here is you go stat.
LIN, right?
Yeah, that's logarithmic. You want to do, there's actually 2 linear regressions on here, if I remember right. Man, maybe not. I think, yeah, there's one right there. There's ax plus b. You could have done 4, or you could have done 8. They're both the same. Okay? That's ln regressions like that. So that's the idea. All right? All right, so that'll wrap us up today. If anybody does need to stay after, if you need a little help with the great goodie, if you haven't got it done, I'll hang around and see if I can help you a little bit. Okay? So it looks like we got most of them, but hang around if you need a little help.